What was the most f***ed up thing you saw in school? Took me too long to realize mashed potato day is probably just the day your cafeteria serves mashed potatoes and not some kind of big yearly mashed potato event at your school. Oh man, I wish it wouldn't be a mashed potato event. That would have been so amazing. But alas, no, just plain old mashed potato day. It was every Friday and always a madhouse trying to get down to the cafeteria due to the way the school was set up. There is no way on God's green earth that school cafeteria mashed potatoes were so good the students looked forward to them. What the hell was the secret ingredient? Heroin? They were good. I think it was just the gravy. It was a solid country gravy, terribly unhealthy with every bite. It was a rival football game and the stands were packed. A section of the old wood bleachers collapsed and 20 or so students went to the hospital with numerous broken bones, concussions, and lacerations of various degrees. During the same game, I saw a guy get hit so hard in the leg that it shattered and both bones were showing. Poor kid ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of the school year. I know it has nothing to do with your command, but it reminded me about a classmate who had his leg broken and had to use a wheelchair. An earthquake happened, and he was left all alone in the classroom while everyone else evacuated. I was in the 9th grade. One of our classmates got drunk, stripped, and streaked the lunchroom, gymnasium, basically any place crowded. The staff was afraid to tackle a naked teenager, so we all got an eyeful. Saw a kid throw a pickleball paddle at a gym teacher. Knocked her unconscious, blood everywhere. He was suspended for some time, was an asshole. Mexican gang member stabbed another Mexican gang member in the neck with a pencil in class. It was 8th grade. He lived. A couple f***ing in the dumpster behind the cafeteria. For the rest of the year, people would walk up behind the dude, crinkling paper and asking if it was getting him hard. Just to add a bit, 4 or 5 of my friends and I stumbled upon this event while we were coming back on campus, and one of them went to throw his trash away. It got around the school pretty damn fast. It's probably a good thing that I'm old enough that the smartphone wasn't a thing when I was in high school, because there's a good shot that one of the group would have been dumb and taken a picture that included a 17-year-old having sex. Like physically in the dumpster or just behind it in some sort of enclosure. Inside the dumpster. Why didn't they just do it next to the dumpster? Privacy, bro. Middle school. I was chilling in the band room and I look out to the hall to see a kid with some sort of liquid coming out of his eye. Later, I found out some kid stabbed his eye with a pencil. In 1st grade, a boy pulled his pants and underwear to below his knees and laid down on his back. Then a girl splat on him. I don't remember why, but I will never forget that sight. 2 fetishes were born on that day. To this day, she still thinks that's how jobs work. Nothing that I personally saw at my high school was disturbingly f***ed up. Just weird. Some kid smuggled in a bunch of onions and clogged all the downstairs toilets with them. Who the hell does that? I had a Scottish teacher and an Irish teacher in the 5th grade, and they were great mates. I got along well with both of them as well. So as I was leaving for the weekend, I went and told them to have a good weekend. They told me the same. Anyway, when I got to school on the Monday, neither was there, which was odd. Then the next day, the same story. This went on for about a week, and I was starting to get worried. Then about a week after, we had an assembly, where we found out that the Scottish teacher was a fugitive. What happened was on the Saturday, after I wished them a good weekend, they went out for a party and got drunk. They then went over to Irish teacher's place, where they got into an argument. Scottish teacher got pissed and punched Irish teacher, who had heart problems, in the chest. He promptly died. Scottish teacher left, got his fiancée, and fled the country, presumably back to Scotland. A girl with bulimia tried to shout down a spiral staircase, but because her gag reflex was so weak, she vomited from a great height instead. As a former bulimic who has an issue with nausea and vomiting to this day, this is nightmare fuel. In my school, there was a kid, or multiple kids, we don't know, who would shit in a urinal every once in a while. They were known as the urinal shitter. Someone made a meme with the Grim Reaper going to the doors template with all the bathrooms they had done it in, and the Reaper going into the last bathroom, the office bathroom. The meme spread very quickly, and I guess some teachers saw it. Since there, it's blood in the meme coming from under all the closed doors. They decided it was a credible threat of violence. They closed the school for 2 days for safety concerns. Just a super weird story all around. There was a girl I was friends with who had developed early and had pretty big boobs and considered thick for a 5th grader. Hanged with a group of 5 or 6 girls, most of the girls in the group were short, skinny, and the pretty ones of the class, so she stuck out from that group. During recess, these 5 girls ganged up on her and pulled down, sometimes ripping her shirt, exposing her chest, and laugh because they thought it was funny. She'd fight it and tell them to stop, but they'd do it even more sometimes, pinning her arms to the side so they could. She ended up hanging out with me more and finding different friends in middle school. I worked at an American school in China a while back. One day, one of the school buses was on the way to campus from the city, and there was an accident the students saw. A truck ran over a man riding his bicycle. The students on the bus witnessed the accident and watched as the man lay dying on the road. They were stuck in traffic and couldn't get away from the horrific scene for over 20 minutes. Kids were crying and traumatized. Most of them were elementary school students. There was a lot of grief counseling in the months after that. We were in 4th grade and class just let out for a 5 minutes break. I was with a group of girls and we walked into the bathroom. On the far wall was a giant ring of shit painted on the shape of a heart. There was even visible undisguised food in the faces that, for some reason, it burned into my memory. There was a kind of a witch hunt. The principal called out students in the hallway, one by one, to question the kids. No one confessed, as far as I remember, but there was a lot of suspicion surrounding a boy who liked to talk about butts and flatulence. I'm not even sure that he did it, but make too many asshole jokes in class and something like this happens, you are suspect number 1. Watch 2 girls get into a fight. One girl had a bunch of ear piercings and was wearing so many hoops it looked like chainmail. The other girl got her on the ground, grabbed those hoops and pulled hard. I will never forget the scream. The rings didn't give, but her ears sure as hell did. Blood everywhere, the girl standing over her like a goddamn psychopath holding a very recognizable ear in the air above her head. It was fucking Mortal Kombat in real life. Like almost entirely, there might have been a nub left. But there was enough of it, if held high, that if someone hadn't seen it happen, just walked by, they would definitely know it to be an ear. As far as I know, neither of them came back to school. Word around on Van Gogh was that they tried to reattach it, but it wasn't good. Sub-Zero ended up in juvie. Girl fights in school were always nuts. My very first day of high school, 2 girls got in a fight. They were punching each other, clawing at their faces and reaching each other's weave out, and a teacher came to stop them. Well, this teacher was rewarded with a shot to the kidney, and he got dropped. What an intro to high school that was. Van Gogh versus Sub-Zero round 2. I would easily pay $100 for that PPV.